Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the European Crucible. Currently, Diamond Skin are up 1-0. Sorry, 2-0. But Polska Pamieta have been looking pretty solid both games. Now, Grubby, Polska Pamieta, do you think they can come back after the 2 games we've seen so far?
I mean, they have the technical means to do so. The series is still being played, but I feel like their best early game was in game 1, and they were unable to close it out with a victory. And in the second game, although there were really good components of the draft, good synergies, it didn't end up working well together when you look at how the entire map is played. With the Arthurs in the solo lane, they're only a main tank. And Genji has been feeling untouchable, but he has been proven not to be. Maybe being punished more than he was in Open Division by the veterans here of Diamond Skin.
Yeah, we're starting to get to the point where do you maybe ban Chris Gul'dan? We'll consider that as we head quickly to the map to find out where we're going to be playing. It's going to be a Diamond Skin choice, and it's going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen, another very good Gul'dan map. So we are leading potentially in that potentially ban or steal situation, because this is what happens when you have long series like this. You start to feel out your opponents, and you start to just give respect bans.
Yeah, and I think if Polska Pamieta now is having a mid-series crisis, I think they'll be reevaluating their series and their draft and looking at things like you said, Gul'dan, double pick by Chris, very powerful so far, difficult to deal with that isolation. Maybe ETC and Tassadar were not as important bans. Maybe they'll be looking at either Gul'dan in the second phase, maybe Anubarak in the first phase. Double Anubarak pick so far. Cocoon, very difficult to deal with. And I don't expect Polska to pick up Genji again unless they get Abathur.
Potentially, the Abathur Genji has been incredibly effective. Like right now, the big saving grace for Polska is Rajuf has still been kind of just playing like a god. He has been incredible on both the Uther and the Rhaegar so far. The Uther less so last game, but that last game wasn't as close. He didn't have as much opportunity, but still been putting on quite the show.
Yeah, it's difficult for him to heal and cleanse his allies when they're that far away.
Or dead.
Yeah, or dead. Generally, when they were near, he was very good with the timings on his abilities. It's going to be a Tassadar ban. I must say, I really expected a Nubarak ban potentially in that first pick, but it's going to be Tassadar once again.
Tassadar standard bans at this point. We just have the favorites. The Chromie being hovered over here. Very strong on this map, and one of the big progenitors, I guess the word would be, of how Diamond Skin very nearly lost the first series. So banning it out here, very solid choice here.
Yeah, Chromie had good damage and zoning with those time traps in the first game.
Yep.
And kept the core alive for a while.
A bit. And also, it makes a little bit more sense to ban Chromie, as even though he's pickable, obviously, Abathur is quite a bit less likely on this map. It's a lot smaller, you don't get as much value from the split soak. If you're going for Abathur, you are fully committed to getting that full symbiote value as opposed in team fights, as opposed to a split soak style that you could get otherwise.
Yeah, and one of the things you really like with Abathur is to make every 1-on-1, 2-on-2 or 2v3 on the map slightly more advantageous for your team thanks to symbiote.
Yep.
The Tomb is such a small map that the opponent can really play like an accordion, weave into the mid lane as 5, separate again to the other 2 lanes. So there's always really big representation of enemy team members together, and 1-on-1s aren't as common.
We're starting off with the Cow once again, bringing out the ETC. He's been 100% pick rate so far in the 2 games we have seen today.
Yeah.
Actually, no, he wasn't. He was banned. Was he banned?
Well, 100% contest rate.
100% inclusion.
First pick by Polska in game 1, first ban by Polska in game 2, and now first pick once again. They like the holy cow. Gul'dan.
Speaking of 100% inclusion rate, only this time it is 100% pick rate. Gul'dan and Uther, very similar logic here to Lunara Uther, in that Uther really struggles dealing with the poison, so you take it yourself.
But I think that's so cool, because if you can predict the course of a series, of a best of 7, accurately, you can know what your opponent feels contributed to their loss. And I truly believe Gul'dan would have been the second ban here for Polska.
Yeah, almost certainly. So they just raised the priority of it, sneaking into the first 2 picks. What I quite like to see here is potentially the return of the Lunara. It will force Diamond Skin to a double support comp, which, due to the fact that Uther is not very good at dealing with spread out poison damage.
I like it. Lunara worked very well last game. Her only trouble was that her allies didn't stay alive long enough to help her. So Lunara yes, Genji no, and then the rest I think is kind of free choice. Could be a good way to play.
Let's have a look here. We're going to see Lunara and Ariel. Nice and standard, what we like to see. Punish the Uther, force Diamond Skin into a double support comp. Polska could in theory either ban out one of the supports depending on what they wanted to pick up as their other damage dealer, because they could go double damage here with Solo Tank ETC.
Yeah, definitely possible. Usually, of course, seeing some kind of solo laner as a warrior archetype, it can be assassins that do it.
The Morales banned out here. It's the other non-mana based support. So Morales and Ariel, between them, you get huge single target healing plus good AoE healing. The two together basically gives you infinite sustain. And Genji is banned out. They don't want to pick it so much, they ban it away. They don't want to face it either.
Yeah, I mean, in this case, I guess it makes sense. Maybe Diamond Skin plays the Genji better than Polska Pamieta. In the meantime, they already have Uther to enable Genji, so... It is clear that Polska really sees Genji as a super top pick. Yeah. We'll be banning him out. Johanna Stukov.
Johanna and Stukov, bringing them out. So they now have the AoE healing of Stukov, which can make up for Uther's lack of AoE healing against Lunara. So very solid choice. And it does, in theory, open them up for leaving Gul'dan as a solo damage dealer and potentially going for something like a Stitches and taking that kind of blow-up comp if they wanted to, because Stukov and Uther are the two, outside of maybe Malfurion, and of course Tyrande, the best supports when it comes to following up on a hook. Speaking of Tyrande, high priority in the HGC Pro League, very low priority in the Open Division. We see her very rarely, and so far has yet to make an appearance. Yeah, every time Tyrande got picked in Open Division, she lost due to lack of coordination, wave clear, generally impact. Lost almost all the games that Tyrande was picked. Whoa! That is 2 in a row, ladies and gentlemen. 2 Crucibles where we have had Cho'Gall show up in the first series. Thank you, Zealot, and thank you, Polska. It's actually super obvious when I connect the dots now. Like, they really played around it. They didn't ban any percentage damage outside of Kaiser Tassadar. They banned out Genji, who is great for punishing Ariel, which is a good way to really counter Cho'Gall. And they've really forced Diamond Skin into going for double damage here. They have to pick something like Greymane, really, to really work around this. Yeah, I thought Anub'arak was going to be the final pick, because you can do the silence follow-up from Stukov on a Cocoon target, easy hit. Ariel can be completely invalidated, and it's still an option, because Cocooning Cho'Gall, 2 for 1 deal. 2 for 1. It's either Anub'arak or Greymane at this point. I think Anub'arak is even a better choice, but it's a bit difficult because it's not great in wave clear. Lunara, Ariel, Cho'Gall are. So there's the map too. Option. There he is, coming out, the percentage damage. This is a safe choice. Like Anub, I would agree, would probably be the aggressive choice of like trying to kill Ariel and stuff. Leoric is the, we need something to distract Cho'Gall, and Leoric is a good choice. And of course, he's a great solo laner. Who's the solo laner for Polska? It's probably going to be ETC, right? I think there will not be a traditional setup, really. I mean, you have ETC, Lunara, Ariel, Cho'Gall. I think Ariel, Cho'Gall stick together. They be in rotation, or would I guess ETC will indeed pick up the pieces here and there, but it's going to be definitely a different than default for Polska here. Whereas Leoric is both the solo laner as well as a good damage dealer on Cho'Gall, but Cho'Galls can beat anything when they have Ariel as support, like even their most ideal counters. And it was a really smart drafting plan by Polska Pamieta to not show that they're doing it. They completely baited us. We didn't see it coming at all. They like ban Greymane, which sort of makes it quite obvious. Really big fan of how they were able to set this up and how they were able to execute it. We have seen Cho'Gall recently, by the way. We've seen him in other regions. HGC China played him twice during their final week of play with a 0% win ratio. Both teams tried it in sequence against each other, losing with that. A very stark contrast with the Korea moment where someone beat MVP Black with it and then they beat them back with it. But this is what we can get. Cho'Gall can either be one of the best heroes, heroes plural, in the game. Heroes. Or can be two of the, or can be a big detriment if you're not able to protect your backline, protect that Ariel, protect that Lunara. Either way, really cool draft. Big fan of how they have been able to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. And just if you don't know and you're watching Heroes for the first time, Cho'Gall is a hero that is one hero played by two. You both have your own set of abilities. Cho, one head, controls the entire movement, and Gall is just about skill shots and shooting spells. So it is two heroes in one, and that means you have less map presence. Like, you cannot split 5 ways, obviously, but it's a very strong raid boss type of hero.
Yeah, but on a map like this, where it is so short distance between top and bot lane, you can seriously get some good value. And of course, the main combo here that they've gone for, Ariel has so many options. For Hope Generation, they have Lunara, very standard Hope Generation, and then they have Cho'Gall, who, if you put the crown on Cho'Gall, you get the energy from all of Gall's abilities and all of Cho's. Let's see if it works, ladies and gentlemen, as we are heading into Tomb of the Spider Queen. And it's going to be Diamond Skin versus Polska Pamieta.
And here on the left, in the blue, it is going to be Diamond Skin leading 2-0 in the best of 7 with Eternal on Leoric, Chris on Gul'dan, Nande on Stukov, Wolf Joe on Uther, and Sport Billy finally on... I can't see.
He is
on Johanna.
on the, yeah. Yep, there you go. He comes out for you. Nice of him. And on the right-hand side, it is Polska Pamieta with Shehu on the ETC, Rajuf on the Ariel. We're going to see Gluehammer on the Cho or the Gall here, Polish Guru on the Lunara, and it's going to be Gugus on the Gall. And we have Glugus as the name.
Glugus.
Glugus. Yeah, there's the apostrophe. Yeah, I forgot what a comma and apostrophe were there for a second. Thank you, brain.
Glugus.
Glugus. I'm a fan of that. I like it. So, we see immediately Cho'Gall did move up to the top lane. And is going to try and just clear that out very quickly. Looks like we are just maybe going to see them go for a straight lane setup. Cho'Gall is very far forward in that lane straight away. Yeah,
pushing the whole top lane. So, okay, Ariel Lunara as a pairing, ETC in the mid to hold the line. Cho'Gall, a lane by himself, the boss of the gym in that lane. Cho'Gall is a pretty good late game hero. He has a lot of quests, in particular Gall, that by hitting skill shots, by hitting damage on enemy heroes, they become more and more powerful. And Cho'Gall at level 20 is absolutely bonkers, as Cho can even pick an ability that allows their death timer to be cut in half. 32 seconds, even if you die at level 20 plus. Really crazy. Of course, there are other options, and dying is never the goal of Cho'Gall because it's 2 death count.
Yeah.
But still, a very strong late game hero. Let's see if they get there.
Let's see if they get there indeed. Other talents that are worth talking about here, Spine Launcher coming in from the Stukov here, getting himself a little bit of range. He doesn't want to put himself in a situation where, even though Stukov has the highest auto attack output in the game, punching a Cho'Gall in the face is almost never a solid plan. So as such, giving himself that extra range, giving himself the slow potential as well. Look at this. Look how much he's slowing Shekel here, just being massively annoying in the process. He's giving himself kiting potential.
Yeah, and of course, channeling a silencing arm for a while can be a little bit risky, as it makes you a target for both Cho'Gall and ETC. So he's going to stay very mobile and slow down the opponent instead.
So we see Chris, once again, Corruption build. Going to build up his stacks as he goes. Currently on 3. Still quite a long time to go, though, before he's in a situation where he's going to need all of that, all of those stacks. One good spread, the level 4 talent coming in for the Stukov.
In the meantime, Cho'Gall nearly getting a kill on Leoric in that mid lane. Gems are being turned in for Diamond Skin, but Polska do not yet have the means to do so. Actually, Glugus just turned in 24 gems himself, as he's been collecting from 2 lanes, and Johanna was just a bit too late to cancel it.
So we're seeing here from the Cho here, Seared Flesh, giving him a more auto-attack focus here, which is going to be very good, considering he's up against that Leoric, who's going to want to frontline him, who's going to want to face him. So Seared Flesh can give some really effective extra damage output. Yeah,
up to 60% bonus on consecutive auto-attacks on heroes. Really crazy. He will be hitting for 600 plus damage per auto-attack post level 10 on enemy heroes, so very strong to do with Leoric. Now, Power Slide, Face Melt on Gul'dan. No body blocks though. So this 3v3 will not yet lead to a kill on Gul'dan.
Yeah, and for now, Cho'Gall actually on his opponent's side of the map, able to zone Sport Billy out a little bit. Guugus has been putting on some really nice control. There's been no real heavy attempts to gank him yet. Taking a little bit of damage here, but is sustaining quite well through it and does actually force the Yorick to leave.
Rune Bomb quest at level 4 by Gall. 20 hits on the Rune Bomb and it will travel faster and further. And there's also a 0 cap quest on it to increase its damage. Now with the body block attempt, but nice zoning by Nanda. Very key here. Had Nanda not had his slow up on ETC, the body block would have been effective and Gul'dan would have fallen.
As such though, Chris was able to escape. Good denial there by Sport Billy, but he's actually quite low on mana. You can see here, he has nothing else he needs to be doing. He's soaking the XP mid, he wasn't being able to get to top lane really in time or safely, so instead he just turns into 2 gems.
Eternal getting taken down here nearly. Does Lunara still have the poison proc?
Spam it.
Nope.
Spam it. No, not available. Not off cooldown. And we also see once again Nanda with an incredibly effective bio kill switch to react to his pustule here, to get the weighted pustule to slow down his enemies. And he's actually gone for the long pitch, the extra range on weighted pustule at level 7.
For the interrupts on the pay station, of course.
I like it.
Diamondskin get the first turn in. Web Weavers will be spawning and pushing all 3 lanes. The Cho'Gall comp by Polska Pamieta is being pressured already. Down half a level, now losing the objective. They need to stay alive to corral their gems into the pay station the next time, once the dust clears up. But for now, defense aplenty will be needed.
Yeah, they're trying to put some pressure onto someone here. Nanda is the target. We can see Guugas taking actually a lot of damage, dropped quite low, but is still able to put a lot of pressure onto Nanda. Rune Bomb!
Yeah, they get him!
They get the kill.
Stukov felt compelled to walk into the Rune Bomb with the flank of Lunara shutting off the south exit. But in the meantime, it's not all a loss for Diamondskin, as they do have the ability to keep pushing with Eternal uncontested at the bottom fort.
You see here, Polish Guru using that poison, clearing up Web Weaver quite quickly. Bot 4 will fall.
Yes.
Yeah, Eternal just getting it with the mace, able to pick that up. First fort of the game, going over to Diamondskin.
Not bad though. Polska Pamieta limiting the damage here fairly well, as they lose 1 fort but save the other 2. Glugus putting some serious pressure here. And you know, these moments are good for Cho'Gall teams. They like to get their level 4 and quest talents on Gall up. Bombs Away is already at 2 stacks. We have Double Trouble at 8 stacks. And what Double Trouble does is if Shadow Flame hits enemy heroes that are afflicted by Consuming Blaze, the cooldown will be reduced. And it will be permanently reduced once you reach that 20 threshold.
That's pretty good. That can be very effective. As we do see Shekel right now trying to zone out Eternal, but Guru gets the turn in barely, and once again, Guugas is able to escape.
And they turned in just before they were interrupted, just before level 10. So this is kind of bittersweet for Polska Pamieta. They're unable to actually push with it because of talent deficit. Oh, nice. Shekel
so patient. He's going to see Eternal here. Beautiful. The patience shown there will prevent him from getting ganked.
Very good play here by Sihu and by Polska Pamieta. Now, they can't push with the Web Weaver because they're not level 10, so mid will be cleared for free. Bottom will just be an experience sponge and a distraction, and it will just be their way to get back into the game. To say, hold up, wait a minute, don't turn in, we waste quote-unquote 50 gems, but it is our ticket back into the game. Level 10 will be reached. And now with just the smallest distraction by the top Web Weaver, they will actually group up bottom, trying to get Leoric, pushing it back. Ariel with the stun.
He has to Wraithwalk, he's too late. Eternal will drop, like you said. Ariel, beautiful containment strike to pick up that kill.
I must believe that Wraithwalk was already used previously to this.
Must have been.
It must have been called by ETC and then used in that way to actually take him down, because there's no way he wouldn't Wraithwalk when he sees Cho'Gall coming. And that's 23 gems denied by Polska.
He's actually also still not picked his heroic. In theory, if he'd picked March the Black King, he might have been able to get out. But, but he hadn't picked it. He didn't even quick pick it. He's just holding it for now.
He's holding it to see which one he will go for. I expect it will be Entombed. There we go.
Yeah, and there it is, used onto Glugas, the drain, he just charges out though. Stage dive coming in, Aegis immediately onto the Cho'Gall, horrified to try and counteract though, but he's tanking through it. Shekel with a great distraction here, flailing up though, will be the disengage.
Did you see that push, that shove by Gall? Gall is what they call unstoppable. So he is the second head on Cho'Gall, and he's the spellcaster, the assassin on Cho'Gall. He is able to do a push even when the target is completely silenced, stunned, whatever. So he actually pushed Cho'Gall back one dash to get away from that horrifying isolation. Very nicely done there by Gugus, the Gall. And they will save Cho'Gall. And now, experience equalizing, 2-0 in takedowns, second Web Weavers. Polska Pamieta has taken the lead in this game.
They have at this point, but so many corruption stacks coming in here for Chris. Once again, late game hero, that Gul'dan can really turn this around as we saw in game number 1. However, guess who else is the late game hero this time? It's the Lunara. Is it going to be what they need this time? As so far, this Cho'Gall has been pretty effective and they haven't been able to blow him up yet. So far, in fact, I was going to be able to blow anyone up yet. It's currently 2 kills to 0 in favor of Polska Pamieta.
They're pretty good at killing Web Weavers.
Very good at killing Web Weavers.
None of the forts have gone down and the experience is equal. 40 gems owned by Diamond Skin. So they are actually just a little bit ahead still. The Polska Pamieta will try to deny them from turning in. Bruiser Camp will buy time for Diamond Skin.
Yeah, can they just get that to hold the lane, maybe put some pressure on. Their mid fort's a little bit weakened, so this is going to help out. Top fort's actually in a little bit of trouble. It is getting pressured here. Billy trying to be annoying. Eats a hammer for his trouble. Stage dive. They're going to try and make a play out of this. Twisting, never! But the silence was used, so Cho'Gall couldn't get the follow-up. And once again, Nanda with the failing swipe to make sure that there was no more follow-up. Beautiful play here coming in from Diamond Skin to prevent these blow-ups.
Yeah, it was a lot of heroics being used here. Good play by both. Sport Billy very nearly falling, but gets away on his Johanna. And he has a lot of regeneration. Lots of hope, Regen Master. This is, of course, the Kel'Thuzad patch. Pre-rework, Johanna.
Yep.
Still a monster of sustain.
Entomb is used, it's ETC, and this time Cho'Gall comes to join. Actually, body block Shekel in a bit here. Tries to get round, trying to body block Leroy.
Oh, wow!
Come on, shield from Rajun!
I had written him
off! Turn it around. You thought he was gone! As Shekel comes in looking for a Eternal. Eternal will fall! And they're able to also pick up Johanna right at the back there. Beautifully done here.
This time Goliath will defeat David here as the two paltry warriors fall to Cho'Gall here. And an immediate call is made to go for the boss by Polska Pamieta. That does mean that Diamond Skin will get a free turn-in as they have the gems available. So it will be boss versus turn-in. Which one will get the upper hand?
Eternal returns and will begin moving into the middle lane to help out his team clearing that. Like I said, this boss will be taken by Polska Pamieta, and they're going to be able to try and put some pressure on with it. This will at minimum get them the 4, even with the Web Weaver defense.
Yeah, exactly. Foregone conclusion. And just to discuss what else Polska could have done, they could have tried to stop turn-in forever. They could have tried to do the boss without ETC, but it would all be risky. Look how long it took actually to take the boss down. Polska specializes in spread damage, but they're not that good at single target damage. Boss took a long time, so had they sent ETC to stop Diamond Skin from turning in at the bottom, boss would take a lot longer. Leoric will be coming back because of his post-death trait, and as such, it might not have worked out. I don't think it was great for Polska to give away Web Weaver, but on the other hand, it kind of cancels each other out, doesn't it?
A little bit. You can see bot lane, they had to rotate down to clear it, because like you said, how much pressure Gul'dan put on. But the boss didn't get a huge amount of value either. We're actually going to see Diamond Skin come out ahead with this due to being able to get a fort themselves. So they actually are able to cancel the effect. Actually, well, I'm not sure who comes out ahead there. It's
Diamond Skin comes out ahead in actual damage done to structures, but Polska have now 55 less enemy gems to deal with.
True.
They took a freely contested boss. The boss is either one, since it's on neutral territory, but those 55 gems will be gone forever on Diamond Skin. So I guess it's still good for Polska. Very
true indeed. Excellent analysis of that scenario. We do also see reactive ballista pause coming in here.
Say that again.
Reactive ballista pause coming in for the Stukov. Basically spreading weighted pustule to everyone. Whenever once Stukov drops below 50% health, and this is good. He's against double tank here, with Ariel probably going to be slightly more in range of them as well. And also, I believe it would count if it counts on... No, I was thinking Leaping Strike, but she hasn't taken it. It's Thornwood Vine here. But yes, pretty solid counter engage here. Able to drop a big, and it resets fire kill switch. Blazing swipe, and they're so slow though. Oh, Infernal, you beauty! Dropping the zoning entomb over the wall, blocking off the chase potential. They still wanted it. They were looking for the chase.
So, nice entomb there, kind of making it very unpalatable to try and go through there with that dash. There was just a small chance that Glue Goose would be able to push forward and get that twisting nether proc on Stukov, but now he is safe. So, Red Web Weavers turned in, level lead for Polska Pamieta, and it looks very good for them. Level 16 for Ariel is going to be that Will of Heaven to get the bonus spell power. Wrath of Heaven it's actually called. 10% bonus spell power for both Cho and Gal.
And Lunara, I believe it works on the poison.
But not taking the Reservoir of Hope to give bigger and bigger heals. That's always a good pick as well with Cho'Gall. It shows a lot of confidence, it's greedy, more damage but less protection.
Everyone loves greedy, but not in this case. We do also have, by the way, for Stukov again, Pox Populi, going for that increased duration.
No more Iron Skin, no more Iron Skin.
No more Iron Skin, Sport Billy in trouble. Stage time to punish this Divine Skin. That's like Iron Skin, but Divine. As we do see the Horrify used to try and disengage here. Infernal's in trouble, Shaker looking for the kill. It will be 2 kills, Uther and Leoric, who end up going down here.
Yeah, this was very nicely done. Polska recognized that Johanna is solo clearing just a little bit too far out of the lane. Will take her down now as well after a perfect stage dive. Siku, 34 gems, gets saved on the cusp of his own death. Saw his life flashing before him, but will be saved once again by the tender administrations of Ariel.
Speaking of death, Surging Death at level 16 here for Cho. When channeling Surging Fist, he gets unstoppable and heals for 150 health per second, giving him more sustain and, of course, the ability to try and get through that Stukov silence if he's able to just walk into it. And he has Frenzied Fist, synergizing with that level 4 talent to give him the extra 75% attack speed after he uses Surging Fist for 5 seconds.
And you don't even need to actually hit anything with it. You can just do a pre-dash with the fist, get a lot of auto attack damage, so much, and then also that unstoppable, of course. Now, Glue Goose, is he getting caught?
There's the charge, there's the unstoppable. Aegis actually cancelling. That might be counter synergy, but he's able to walk back through. Blessed Shield, trying to make the play. Stage time, Horrified, twisting Nether,
Glue Goose!
Counter Glue Goose! He's able to escape using that sprint. Shrekel, though, is now in danger. There's no entomb. He drops the face melt, though, pushing Infernal away. Infernal trying to chase down desperately. Nice shot by Naja, hitting Polish Guru there with that weighted pustule, but it's not enough for the kill.
There was a risky moment here for Polska. The crown was still on Cho'Gall, not on Lunara, so Ariel had no energy generation as Siku was running for his life. But just in time, he was saved. And Polska, should they be contesting here? Yes, it's their bruiser camp, I guess, but they're not level 20 yet.
We're seeing the sacred sweep from Ajuv. Gets a good detainment strike, but once
Look
again,
at this Lunara!
Lunara from over the wall doing so much damage. Has the Starboard Spear, the extra range at level 16, has just been abusing that talent and just getting so much damage from over the wall. It's just short there.
He's an artist.
He just walked into it, went all the way back around and killed him anyway.
He tried to make an entomb to try and privately Hearthstone away, but it doesn't take enough. It doesn't last long enough. And of course, this was a very smart fight actually by Polska. It was their bruiser camp. It was never about the camp. They weren't 20. They didn't care about that too. Crucially, they knew Horrify not available.
Yeah.
Throughout all that, it just came up. And that means that they had full control of the fight. Without Horrify available, they do not need to fear the conclusion of 1,000 battles. Now, level 20 is reached. Red Web Weavers once again. And Polska is breathing down their first map victory in this best of 7.
They are, but they were looking really solid last time as well. And Diamond Skin actually won a 19 versus 20 fight in game number 1. It's far and away not a foregone conclusion here. Diamond Skin still have the potential, and you can see them playing so safe. They're just hiding in the base at this point.
Level 20 talent, Shield of Hope. We've got Shifting Nether, Teleportation, wow, Crowd Pleaser, and of course, Katoon's Gift. Auto attack range for Cho.
Much damage.
Oh,
That's
what a Crowd Pleaser!
As we see them moving on, down goes the Uther. Not even close. Horrify used, but Chris, it's too late, Thread. As we do see Polska Pamieta moving onto the core here. Nanda doing everything he can. The Entomb is dropped, but guess what? Lucas is ranged now with Katoon's Gift. And ladies and gentlemen, that is gonna be GG. And Polska Pamieta are on the board, and they are coming back. It is now 2-1. Well played.
Yeah. I want a new logo for Polska Pamieta. Their initials are PP, Polska Pamieta, and now they win their first map here in the Crucible with the 2-headed ogres.
Oh, little logo heads.
Wouldn't that be cool? Maybe they win
there.
the whole series with Cho'Gall and they'll actually do it. They needed a 2-headed ogre here to come back into this series. Very cool game and such an expertly crafted draft. Basically hiding.
There's no expert in this series.
Such a Polska-ly crafted draft, hiding their Cho'Gall pick, despite setting up a really good synergy with it, with that Ariel.
Absolutely. Beautifully done. They had double hope generators, so even if Cho'Gall was far forward and in the Aegis, they were still getting hope from the Lunara. Just incredible execution there by Polska, controlling that game all throughout. Can they do that again, though? They've managed to... It's very unlikely. There's very few maps you can really fit Cho'Gall onto these days.
Yeah, I mean, Battlefield of Eternity is also pretty small map.
Yeah, Praxis could have been a potential, but it's banned, so can't use that.
Maybe on Battlefield of Eternity. Infernal Shrines is a little bit more difficult, because I think if you go Cho'Gall on that map, yes, you will probably win the Shrine. But you will not
have rotational issues.
Yeah, you will not be able to do it like Greyman Abathur push or Illidan Rhaegar, Illidan Tassadar on the off lane. So that's going to be a little bit tough. We're going to see what the next map is going to be, or if there are any other tricks in the books here for Polska Pamieta.
Maybe a reminder, once again, best of 7. That's 1 out of the 4 games that Polska need to win. It's still a long journey for them to get that qualifying spot, but it's a start.
Yeah, start 2-1 in the series here. The qualifying match to make it into Pro Division. To be able to call yourself a Heroes of the Storm Pro Gamer, you get a base salary, and you can try to qualify for things like Western Clash and the Mid-Season Brawl and BlizzCon and the like. So definitely the place to be if you want to make your career as a Heroes of the Storm player. And Polska has been looking at this for a very long time now.
You're going to be in good company if you do as well. Dignitas and Fnatic. Dignitas second place at BlizzCon. Fnatic world champions currently heading into this BlizzCon. You've got some pretty decent competition in there. And of course, as we've seen from multiple times, when you play against the best, you have no choice but to improve or get knocked down.
Yeah, the survival of the fittest here. Of course, Diamond Skin here finished with 5 wins. Not enough to make it to the top 6 in the running for this year's BlizzCon. But they are looking to stay in this league and prove that they deserve to be here. They just lost to something which I think they will find will be worth laughing about later when they look back at how they qualified. Once again, if they do, or they said, okay, Ariel, the writing was on the wall. We didn't see the Cho'Gall pick coming, and we were ill-equipped to deal with it. With just 1 pick left to flex against Cho'Gall Ariel, it's not where you want to be.
No, absolutely not. They were kind of forced into the Leoric. Like we said, the other options might have been a noob. Maybe that would have worked better, but Lunara's damage is very quick base, so it can still be less than effective here. Either way, absolutely fantastic. Very nicely done. And that actually, once again, we mentioned before, the last phase as well. Everyone's done that we've spoken to about the Crucible. Last phase, we had Team Zealots, and they also ended up running a Cho'Gall and using it for a win very early in the series. So it's nice to see the tradition being kept. Let's see if we get a Cho'Gall next year as well. For now, let's have a look at the battleground.